Okay, so I will try to spend maybe half an hour on the first lesson called Six Qualities of the Dhamma. So this is quite a popular question for the subjective type of questions. You can write short essay on the qualities of Dhamma. So we just take a look at the six qualities of the Dhamma. The first part on the intro is that from our 5 classes that we have done, we have seen so many good qualities of the Dhamma. So even though the teaching looks simple, but it has very sublime meaning, very deep meaning in what the Buddha is trying to tell us. So usually we say that in the process of learning Dhamma, there are 3 aspects to read. The first one is to understand the teaching itself. So the theory part of Dhamma is our first focus. So once we have understand the theory, what the Buddha has taught, the second aspect is to then put those theory into practice. So only by practicing, then we can see that the Dhamma has value in our life. So it's not a theoretical subject, Buddhism is more on practice. So once you know what the Buddha has said, then you put that into practice. So some practices that we can talk about is like the one given by the Buddha on the 5 precepts, keeping the precept, knowing that a precept is a moral value, is a standard human moral value. So as human beings, it's important that we keep this moral aspect in our daily practices. Okay, and then the second thing is that we also try to live accordance with the teaching of the Buddha. So this aspect is very important, because if we don't live the way the Dhamma has asked us to live, then we are not walking the Noble Eightfold Path. When we say that we are walking the Noble Eightfold Path, means we are actually living in accordance with the teaching of the Buddha. And finally, we always talk about the purification of the mind. So, from Dhammapada 183, the Buddha always talk about this 3 practices. The first is to avoid the evil, and then we practice the good. And finally, if we got a bit of time, we should always look inwards to purify the mind. The source of our problem is not outside. The source of our problem is actually inside us. So the more we understand ourselves, how the mind works, and you can manage or retrain the mind to see things in its right perspective, things in the right way, then we are in the process of understanding our life much better. So the purification of mind also helps us to develop wisdom, to see things in its true nature, which we have already explained in Tilakana. Everything that happens in the universe is subjected to these 3 marks of existence. Things is impermanent, and then there is dukkha in the things, as well as finally there is non-self, the anatta aspect of it. So it's anicca, dukkha, anatta. That is the true nature of the nature of universe. So if we put that 3 things in things that we do, and we use that logic to see things that's happening around us, then slowly we'll gain wisdom along the path. Okay, so I'm going to cover now the chant that we always do in the morning. When you do the morning puja, we have this salutation, or look at the qualities of the Dhamma. So we always say, Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo, Sanditiko, Akaliko, Ehipasiko, Opanayiko, Pachatang, Veditabo, Vinyuhiti. So this is the chant that we always do in Pali in our morning puja services, or even our evening puja services. So I have highlighted words bold here. So we'll walk through each of these words. So you got Swakato, that is the first quality of the Dhamma. Then we'll walk through the Sanditiko. Then we walk through Akaliko. Then we look at what is ahipasiko, and then we look at it as what is in opa, and then finally pachatang veditabo vinyuhiti. So hopefully by the time we complete this 6 word, when you do your morning puja or your evening puja, chanting this Pali word, as you chant in Pali, try to recollect it in its English meaning. So that will give you to develop your confidence in the teaching of the Buddha itself. Okay, let me start off with the first word called Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo. Okay, so you can see from the Pali word, the Swakato means well proclaimed or well expounded. Some books will use the word expounded. Some book will use the word well proclaimed. Swakato. Bhagavata is the blessed one. Dhammo is Dhamma. So here simply means to say that the blessed one Dhamma is well proclaimed. That's the meaning in Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo. So the blessed one means the teaching of the Buddha is well proclaimed. So well proclaimed in what sense? In 3 aspects, which is it has the theory, the reasoning why, and then the sincere practice by the followers, and then finally, if you practice it, then we have full realization of what the Buddha is trying to tell us. So, as I've said in my other classes, the Buddha is an awakened one. Awakened from what? So the Buddha is awakened from the dream of existence, which I have been saying this again and again. So we are all still in the dream, but the Buddha is awakened from the dream. He tells us we are still in the dream and asks us to wake up from the dream through the Noble Eightfold Way. He has established the path for us to be awakened from the sleep, which is the Noble Eightfold Way. So it has theory, it has practice, and it's full realization. So we always say that the Dhamma is excellent at the beginning, and then excellent in the middle, and excellent at the end. What does this word generally mean when somebody says that the Dhamma is excellent in the beginning? So the beginning refers to the Sila principles, the practice of the Sila principle, the keeping our precept, our Dana, our Sila is excellent at the beginning. And then in the middle is once you have done sufficient practice in the precept, then people tend to move to meditation, that is the middle part called Samadhi. Yeah, the practice of looking inward called Samadhi. And the excellent at the end is that because we can see things clearly in the way things are, we develop wisdom to the nature of things. So that is the end. So we say that Dhamma is excellent in the beginning, is excellent in the middle, and also excellent at the end. And you can see from the sutta that is given by the Buddha, everything that he says is all congruent back to the Four Noble Truths. So the Four Noble Truths is like the main subject matter. Then the Buddha gave small discourses to explain and expand the concept of the Four Noble Truths. Yeah. So there is no contradiction between what the Buddha said to the earlier 5 monks and then said to the villagers. That all are congruent. It comes together in one big piece of information. So the Buddha usually used this simile to talk about the little drop of water that is collected over a period of time. When this water enters the ocean has only one taste, a taste of saltiness. So same thing with the Dhamma. If you practice this on gradually over a long period of time, the taste of realization is also one taste. So one taste at any time, that is a taste of nibbanic bliss. That is the context that we can take from this word swakato. The Buddhist teaching is well proclaimed or well very well thought through, before this particular teaching is given to the masses. Okay. Then the second word is sanditiko. Sanditiko. So you can see from here, the practice of the Dhamma must be self-realized. Okay, direct experience by the individual and self-realized. So no one can do this for us. So this is our own journey for liberation. So you cannot walk the path for somebody else. So you can see it's very clearly stated here that the teaching of the Buddha, or teaching of the Gautama Buddha, is to be self-realized. So we have to walk and understand the Dhamma, practice the Dhamma, and realize it ourselves. So it's self-realized to get the benefit. Yeah. So that is the meaning of sanditiko, or self-realized. Yeah. So this is just an example to show how people can change by embracing Buddhism or the teaching of the Buddha in their life. So this particular example shows about Emperor Asoka. Before he was a Buddhist, he has done too many wars with the neighboring countries and killed so many people. So the moment he see, this is not the way forward, and he taken Buddhism as his religion, then his attitude towards people and war has changed. So there's a transformation in terms of Emperor Asoka's behavior. So instead of from a wicked ruler, he become the righteous one. This is what we see in history of a great man called Emperor Asoka before and after embracing Buddhism. Then the other Jakarta stories, or even the stories that you have read from the life history of Buddha, people like Angulimala can also be applied here. Before and after meeting the Buddha. You see, before that, getting wrong view from the teacher, he went around killing people, to get their fingers to form the garland, 999 of it, and then the last finger was supposed to be from the mother, and the Buddha come and intervened. And then, by just a simple encounter with the Buddha, Angulimala, completely changed, from a evil person going around killing for fingers. He becomes, a person which of much training in the mind, and then there itself he attained arahanthood. So you can see the application of sanditiko in this context. There is immediate transformation of someone who is self-realized by practicing the teaching of the Buddha. And then akaliko. Okay, akaliko here got to do with time. That means the teaching of the Buddha is timeless. It doesn't devalue over a period of years. It doesn't. So we can see that the teaching of the Buddha given 2,600 years ago is still valid today in our life. The kind of goodness that we get from the teaching of the Buddha is still applicable in our life, and it will still be applicable for years to come. So the akaliko word simply tells us that, despite the length of time has lapsed, there is still relevancy. And then a lot of things that the Buddha say is unchallenged. In fact, most of the scientific finding in terms of how the mind works and all that is proving that what the Buddha has said 2,600 years ago, it's still relevant and valid in our modern society. Okay, so the Dhamma is the truth, and the truth is timeless. So akaliko in English translates simply means it's timeless. Right? It doesn't change with time. And then we all know that, sometimes even though the truth is there in the world, we can't see the truth is because we have been, we are always subjected to these three evil rules of greed, hatred and delusion. In us, we have this deeply rooted evils that is actually preventing us from seeing the true nature of things. Yeah, and the Buddha says that, you know, for us to overcome that is to practice the Noble Eightfold Path, starting from right view, right understanding, all the way to right samadhi. All right, and then the Ehipassiko is the most popular word. We hear this in Buddhist hymns as well. So Ehipassiko, Ehipassiko, and most of the time people will say, translate this Ehipassiko as come and see. See is not so important. Come and experience it, I think, is more relevant. Ehipassiko means knowing the teaching, you come and experience it, and then you can see how good is the Dhamma itself. And then there are many occasions where the Buddha has declared, don't take his word for out of respect for what he said. Yeah, do not do that. So we becomes the followers of the Buddha. Don't take what the Buddha said. We got to test it out ourselves. Ehipassiko. So the Buddha has given an open invitation for us to test the teaching that is laid down for us, like whether that teaching is working or not working. So, you know, when you put that teaching into practice, and you see the teaching is applicable to you, definitely your confidence in the Buddha and his teaching increases. Also, that's very important for us to put the teaching into practice. And then we have to give a close scrutiny on what the Buddha says, you know, whether whatever the Buddha is experiencing, and he said that to us, whether we too experience it or not. Okay, so I think this is a religion that is very different from other religions of the world. Here, Buddhism says, open invitation, come and experience it, and come and inspect, and come and scrutinize. So this is a very important aspect of the Buddha's teaching, Ehipassiko. Opanayiko. Now this is the aspect I think we're going to spend a bit more time, as I've explained. As a human being, we are always train our senses to look outwards, very little looking inwards. So Opanayiko simply encourages us to look inwards, leading inward to Nibbana. So the true peace that we can get from the learning of the Dhamma is, you know, looking inwards, leading inwards. So things like mindfulness practice, as well as meditation, it becomes the core aspect, yeah, of the Buddha's teaching, to look inwards. The more we can understand the mind, and the more we can understand ourselves, the better we becomes in the way we live our life. Sometimes we get confused because we cannot comprehend the world in the right way. When we can comprehend the world in the right way, looking inwards, that will give us true, lasting happiness and peace. That is the concept called Opanayiko. Okay, so in fact, the teaching of Buddha is applicable to everyone. So you know, it's only not for intelligent people. So in fact, the teaching is applicable for every community and society. As long as we understand the teaching and we put that into practice, we should be able to realize the words of the Buddha. Okay, then you can see here, leading inwards, which I'll cover later on also in my second part of the slide. The Dhamma that is laid down by the Buddha is very gradual. It's a gradual training. Yeah, people who are still can't see the path. The Pali word for people like that, it means the lay people who cannot see the path. There's a Pali word called Putujana. Putujana. So somebody who has entered the noble, entered the stream simply means to say live in accordance to the Noble Eightfold Path. They has entered the Arya stages. So here I've listed down 4 types of Arya found in the Sutta. Okay, the first stage is called Sotapanna. Sotapanna. So English word is called stream enterer. Somebody who has attained this, they would have a maximum of 7 more lives. So, you know, they will just come back 7 more lives. That's a maximum. It can be shorter. The maximum for Sotapanna is they will have 7 more lives to come back. Yeah, before they enter, they become an Arahant. It means completely eradicated all the defilements. And then above this stream enterer is the second stage called Sakadagami, once returner. Only one time to return, means only 1 life left. So this particular person, an Arya, is better developed in terms of his practices compared to a stream enterer. He has worked harder, therefore he has broken more fetters, more bonds, in short word, more fetters. So he has only 1 life to return. Then Anagamin is the third stage, Arya. So non-returner, that means he doesn't come back to the world again. So this third stage Aryas, they will be reborn in the Brahma's world. They're born there, and when they pass away from that world, they will immediately becomes an Arahant. So finally, we have an Arahant who is fully liberated. Okay, so you just have to remember this, but I'm going to walk through this again in my next slide. So there are 4 stages of awakening. We have stream enterer, and then we have once returner, we have a non-returner, and we have a fully liberated person called the Arahant. So this is what we call a gradual development laid down by the Buddha. Okay, so how do we move from one stage to another? So we have to fully practice ourselves to break away from all the bonds and fetters of existence. Now we shall go through with you shortly after this. So that is the concept called Opanayiko. And finally, we have the last word, Pachatang Veditabo Vinyuhi. Okay, so this particular word looks long in Pali, Pachatang Veditabo Vinyuhi. It simply means the teaching given by the Buddha has to be comprehended individually by the wise. By the wise. It cannot be understood by someone who is foolish. Foolish here doesn't refer to stupidity. Foolish here means he cannot see the the higher teachings. Somebody who cannot see the purpose of this life is to practice for higher value, higher attainment. He can't see that, then he's not a wise person. So every one of us need to comprehend this individually. And in the whole process, when we get our wisdom, we become a wise person in the journey. So in a nutshell, we cannot do this on behalf of somebody else. It has to be the person who is on the path for liberation. He has to put the effort in himself. Just like the parable here, if someone is thirsty, you cannot drink the water for him. He has to drink the water himself to quench his thirst. So that's the simile given here. And then 2 significant aspects of it. Firstly is that it has to be, we ourselves got to walk the path, individualistic. And secondly is that it can be comprehended by people who is wise. So in the whole process of the practice, we should gain gradual wisdom. The wow moment. Sometimes we do have wow moment where you see something happening in our life. We like, this is an added wisdom in our life itself. So this is the meaning of Pachatang Veditabo. Okay, so that is the 6 qualities of the Dhamma. We are coming back to the main screen. I think the sixth quality is quite straightforward, because the Pali word that I've just used are very common Pali word, which we always chant during the morning puja or evening puja. So I'm just giving the meaning of this Pali word, which represents the sixth quality of the Dhamma. Is there any questions on this? Okay, if there's no question, then I'm going to go on to the next presentation already. So this one a little bit may take a bit more time, because we're going to talk about the 5 hindrances. Yeah. So the Pali word for this is quite straightforward. Pancha Nivarana. So let's start off with the basic understanding of this word. Pancha is 5. So from my class with you over 6 lessons, there are many words with pancha in Pali. Yeah, so this is also one of the panchas. So this is pancha nivarana. The English translation for nivarana, it could be a hindrance, it could be a corruption, or it could be an obstruction. So from the word itself, it's quite clear that these 5 things which is inherently with us, you like it or not, we come with these 5 hindrances, right? It is with us as part of our journey in life. They are always there. Whether you recognize them or you don't recognize them, it doesn't matter, but it's always there. If you can recognize the 5 hindrances, then you can apply some of the techniques given by the Buddha to overcome these hindrances. So the first stage is to know that these 5 hindrances exist in all of us. That is an obstruction. Not only in meditation, but also in our day-to-day work. You know, like for example, even if you're working in the office, if the 5 hindrances arises while you're working, it can distract you from your work. Likewise, if you're seated and meditating, if the 5 hindrances arises at the time or even before the time, it can also become a hindrance in your progress to attain mental calmness. So it's good for us to recognize what are these 5 hindrances. So in the Sutta SN 46.39, the Buddha has listed down these 5 hindrances. And you can find many more suttas, which these 5 words are repeated by the Buddha as something that a practitioner should be aware of. So I'm just going to go through these 5 hindrances. The first is called sensual desire. Yeah, so this got to do with our 5 senses. In fact, our 6 senses plus our mind is also one of the senses. So as long as our senses are running after things outside, it becomes a hindrance. Yeah, but if we are not if you don't give sufficient attention to your hindrance or attention to our 6 sense faculty, if we just let it loose and we do not recognize that these hindrances are there, then tendency is that we'll be drawn by whatever that's happening, in the sense door itself. So sensual desire is quite a problem. While you're doing something, your mind suddenly thinks of making a cup of coffee. There's a sensual desire arising. Or you do your work, or you're doing meditating, you suddenly hear music, beautiful music, your mind get connected there and attached to the music. Is also a form of sensual desire, is a hindrance. Same thing with smell. Your neighbor cook up some curry, which is so fragrant, the smell just come in and you're doing some meditation, it draws you. And then it kicks into your sanya, your memory. The memory start picking up a lot of things, and you start comparing this, comparing that. And the worst sensual desire that we have is our mind. Our mind keep, bringing out old memories, old records of things that we have spoken or seen or talked about. It always flash out. So these are all the different form of hindrances that we have coming out from sensual desire. And then the second is ill will. Ill will is it's a form of sensual desire, but it's a negative version. where when you hear something, see something, or smell something which you dislike, immediately, the ill will part of ourself arises. It can be showing in terms of anger, unpleasantness, hatred arises. Some foul words may even come out. when your senses pick up some of this that you dislike. So the ill will aspect is also planted in us. It will arise from time to time. Now, sloth and torpor is quite easily visible when you feel sleepy, drowsy. Your mind is just not energized. So this is under the class called sloth and torpor. Laziness generally. And this one is always experienced when you have taken a heavy meal, your lunch or dinner, you overeat, and that tendency is that you'll kick into a sloth and torpor situation. Restlessness, number 4, and remorse is a little bit different from sloth and torpor. Sloth and torpor shows that our mind is lack of energy. Restlessness is the opposite. Our mind is pretty active, very, very active, keep jumping and jumping, keep going from one thought to another. You tend to be restless, don't know what to do. One of the things that I usually observe is that, if you're watching TV, you keep pressing the remote controller from, one channel to another. It is a sign of restlessness. You do not know what you want, Your mind is just going, you just choose one channel and then you are seeing it for a few seconds. After you choose another channel, you keep playing with your remote controller. That shows that you are remorse. You are restless. You are uncertain of what you want to do. So your mind keep moving from one thing to another, moving from one thing to another. Remorse is when you start to recall an incident that you are unpleasant. It could be your work, or it could be even in meditation. Sometimes when you have done a 45-minute sit-in meditation and then you feel very unsatisfied with the meditation of the day, you just feel unsatisfied. You keep comparing, how come I did it so well yesterday and today I just can't do it. These are some of the feeling that arises called remorsefulness. Unsatisfied. Okay, doubt is very clear. Doubt means when you don't comprehend things clearly, you become doubtful, right? Or the instruction is not clear. Usually it's instruction not very clear, or you didn't hear the instruction clearly, or you misunderstood the instruction, and that gives us doubt. So these are the 5 types of hindrances, quite well explained by the Buddha in a variety of suttas. So I'm going to take some of the suttas, and we just got to look through the different aspects, and then look at some of the suttas also for suitable remedies when this thing arises. So that the thing we have to remember is that, if we do not pay attention to these hindrances, whether it's mental or physical, not only for meditation, even when we are working, it can really disturb our mind, our body, and it hinders our progress. Whether it's in our work or in our meditation. So it is a stumbling block, It's an obstruction in our progress. So it's good that we have to recognize these 5 hindrances. Okay, so in the sutta, the Buddha also talk about, while we want to recognize the 5 hindrances, we also got to pay emphasis on the 7 factors of awakening. The Bojjhanga in Pali, but the Bojjhanga, the 7 factors of enlightenment, because if we are not, we have pushed away the 5 hindrances from our mind, then what should our mind be focusing on? So the Buddha says that when we have pushed away the 5 hindrances, then we should take our clear mind to focus on the 7 factors of enlightenment, which will be liberating, and it can help us to free ourselves from the mass of suffering. So what are the 7 factors that the Buddha has given us? So I won't be going through these 7 awakening factors with you, just to list down these 7 factors. These 7 factors will be discussed in detail when you do the higher MBE class next year. So it's actually a question paper, for those who are doing the higher level, the 7 factors of enlightenment will be definitely asked. For the senior classes, we just have to have a glimpse of it. Detail of it is not really required, but as a practitioner, if you are a regular practitioner, I think it's good for you to pay a bit of attention on the 7 factors of enlightenment, because this is what we have developed in our journey to liberation. So start off with sati, that is awareness or mindfulness of awareness. We got to increase that mindfulness awareness. In fact, you can see the sati here is connected to samasati of the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay, the 7th factor of the Noble Eightfold Path is samasati. In fact, samasati, samasamadhi is an expansion towards the 7 factors of enlightenment. So for those who are practicing towards liberation, towards the awakening, they should pay more attention to the 7 factors of enlightenment. So when it comes to the 7th factor, which is samasati, and the 8th factor, samasamadhi, it is now expanded. Yeah, it's expanded. Expanded into this word. Okay, sati is the samasati, and then samasamadhi, you can see, is also here, listed as number 6 and 7 of this 7 factors of enlightenment. So in between are all the smaller things that we have to develop to finally reach the samadhi and upekkha. Okay, so sati, start with sati, that's mindfulness, and then dhamma vijaya. So this is very important because a lot of people doesn't spend time in investigation. This is some of the aspect where a lot of practitioners neglected in Dhamma Vijaya. So if you really want to progress, you have to do Dhamma investigation periodically. Like for example, when you are not in meditation, it's always good to bring out the core teaching of the Buddha and reflect on it. Try to internalize it and make this be part of you in your mind. Like, for example, re-look at the Four Noble Truths, line by line, and then internalize it and deepen your understanding. That exercise of recollecting and planting it in your mind is called Dhamma Vijaya. And same goes with, dependent origination. Yeah, looking at the 12 links, focusing on craving, how craving arises. Craving, what causes craving to arise? From craving, it goes down to upadana, attachment. So you walk through that up and down, forward and then reverse way, forward and reverse way. Try to master it so that it becomes part of us. And also tilakkhana, see things in its true nature. Phenomena of anicca, dukkha, anatta. Keep running that, keep running that, keep running that. So when you're walking and seeing things, you keep bringing out this tilakkhana in the things that you are engaging. Look at a flower as impermanent. Look at a flower as impermanent like that. Yeah. So by constantly doing Dhamma Vijaya, it is going to strengthen our understanding of the teaching of the Buddha. And then same thing with Viriya is your energy, which is very similar to Sama Vayamo, the effort, time effort. And then when you keep doing that, then joy arises, happiness, and then passaddhi, the calming and tranquility of the mind sets in. Then we can then deep down into composure, deep level of composure. So usually here, when you say samadhi, we talk about the 4 jhanas, 4 levels of composure, very weak level, then all the way down to the 4th level, very deep level, and that's where we experience upekkha. The upekkha means we are no longer shaken by phenomena that is outside, whether it's pleasant, unpleasant, we are no longer shaken by that. The mind is still stable, very stable in whatever that's happening. So these are the 7 factors, just to give you a glimpse of what we can spend our time on, instead of unwholesome things, we can actually look at this over and over again and say, this is the 7 things that I have to develop on my journey to liberation. Okay, so I'm going to go down to some of the basic way of doing it. The first few things to look at is that we have to identify the hindrances. There are 5 categories. You have to recognize them. So if you can recognize them, then you can then apply the right antidote to overcome that particular hindrance. So here we always say that the hindrances are generally surrounding the 3 evil roots, greed, hatred, delusion. Okay, it's always that greed, hatred, delusion, which is so strongly planted in us, shows up in different forms, in a visible form. So like sexual desire is actually a form of greed. Ill will is a form of aversion. That's hatred, hatred. And then the remaining one, the other 3 are usually due to our delusion, not knowing, not comprehending things well. So the 3 evil roots always is in us. Until we uproot the 3 evil roots, we will always be on the journey to liberation. We are always as a practitioner, to be liberated. Until we can uproot the 3 evil roots, then we become fully liberated. That is the message given by the Buddha. Okay, so the 5 things that we talk about, the hindrances, is always a block for samadhi, because it distracts the mind to enter calmness. So it is definitely a block for samadhi. And then weaken our judgment, so we can't see things in its true nature. Okay, so here the Buddha has given the what is the nutriment? Nutriment is the food. What kind of food does the hindrance rest on? Now, if you give them food, then the hindrances start to grow. Now, you don't give them the food, the right type of food, the hindrances will subside and die. So the Buddha says that these 2 words is very important. So if we give careless attention, means when there is an hindrances, you notice a hindrance as a reason, and you pay careless attention to it, that hindrance is going to grow. So if you pay careful attention, that is applying the antidote, then definitely you are removing the food to the hindrances, and the hindrances slowly subsides. Okay, so the 2 word is very important here. That is careless attention and careful attention. The Pali word here is the yoniso manisakara. I think the word we have used also in my other class, yoniso manisakara, attention, paying attention, careless attention, or careful attention. Yeah. So we also have used the word akusala and kusala, isn't it? Yeah. So akusala or kusala. So it's whether kusala yonisi manasakara or akusala yonisi manasakara. So this is the English translated word of making sure that when we identify a particular hindrance as a reason, we could quickly apply the right type of attention. And don't use careless attention. I think in our life we have experienced this again and again. How did we fall into a particular desire? Because we pay careless attention. We run after it. Just take a very simple example. When the thought of wanting to eat ice cream arises, okay, so the thought arises, so there is already a craving for it. The thought has a reason, and then if you pay careless attention, simply means, oh, I like to eat ice cream, and also you walk towards the fridge and open the fridge and take it. So if you apply careful attention, means I say, well, ice cream, maybe I try not to eat ice cream today. So when you apply like that, that definitely you won't act out the particular desire. There's a reason. So that's how the careful attention and careless attention is applied, which is the nutriment to the hindrance. And then here the Buddha talk a little bit about we need to apply mindfulness and right effort. These 2 must always be there. Mindfulness means you are aware. Yeah. Not mindfulness, you're not aware. So when you are aware, you're mindful. When you're not aware, like for example, I ask you now, are you aware of you are breathing? So if I say The moment you take note of your breath, that moment is called aware. The mindfulness is there. But at other time, you are just not paying attention to your breath. That means you are not mindful of your breath. Okay, and then to do that, you need effort. Yeah, you need to apply energy and effort to do that. So the concept is always replacing unwholesome with wholesome thought. That is how we do it. And then the Anga Sutta here talks about, the kind of energy that we need, the viriya that I talk about, the viriya for the 7 beginning factors. So we have the arouse energy. Arouse here means that you yourself got to, put in energy. You don't put in energy, the energy just don't show up. So you need to arouse the energy, and then this person will not cast off the duty. That means he firm in exertion. He wants to do it. I want to overcome this. There must be some kind of desire. And then only can cast off the unwholesome thoughts that has the reason. Okay, so I'm going to go to the 5 analogies given by the Buddha to describe in a simple way to see how these 5 hindrances are like in terms of a simple simile. So this is taken from Samapala Sutta, Dikha Nikaya, DN2, the fruit of homeless life. So the Buddha has given this beautiful simile to tell us that the 5 hindrances can be tied towards a simple example. Sensual desire is like a debt. You borrow money from the bank. So the more you borrow, the more interest you got to pay. Sensual desire is like that. That means you're enjoying the benefit now, but you got to pay the enjoyment that you're paying now. So it's a debt. It's not good to have borrowing because you are feeding on someone else's money, not your money. So sensual desire is like a debt. And then sickness is equal to an ill will. So it shows like that. Like when an ill will, you feel very sad, your face like that. You feel like a sick man. He says that you look like a sick person if you have ill will. So it's also not a good thing to have. And then sloth and torpor, laziness and all that. You are like a prisoner. You have been imprisoned by yourself. You're prisoning yourself. You cannot move. You have not enough space to move. So you are just like in a prison. And then restlessness is like you are a slave. You're like a maid in the house. The boss keep on telling you to do this, do that, do that. So you have no time to rest, So you are just like a slavery. You are like a slave, being instructed by the boss. So constantly working without a break. And then lastly, doubt means to say it's a simile of a desert. You're walking in a desert and you do not know which direction to take. But the desert is so open. You don't know whether north, south, east is the way to go. So you are like, you are right in the desert and don't know where to head. This is the simile given by the Buddha of these 5 hindrances. So you can see the 5 hindrances simile is pretty useful because the Buddha says that the moment you can overcome them, and then you get the following benefit. When you abandon the hindrances, then you are free from that. You don't owe people money, so there is no anxiety anymore. No, you are living happily without having the bank to chase after you. Then when you have good health, then you overcome your sickness. So that is the benefit of not having ill will. You as though that you're a healthy person. And then you're released from prison. When you don't have sloth and torpor, you're out of prison. You have the freedom now instead of being contained in a small space. And then and then slavery. You have been chased after your boss like that. You got the freedom. You are free. You're no longer a slave. Yeah, you have this freedom to move. And finally, the desert. You can get out of the desert. That you have found a place of security. You landed in a good place. So this simile given in the Samapala Sutta just describes the kind of hindrances that we have and how it brings us down, if we can release ourselves from the hindrances, it gives us a positive outcome. Other than this, there are also other similes in the sutta, but I just gave you one. But if you come across other similes of the 5 hindrances, just take note of it. Yeah. So I think one simile is good enough to understand what are those 5 hindrances. So I'm going to walk through with you the sensual desire and also the antidote. From the word sensual desire we have described, this simply refers to the 5 senses, plus the mind means there are 6 senses out there. We are constantly being drawn away by things outside. We like to hear the sound, the thing, and all that. Yeah, just like this picture that I've used before. So we are constantly getting stimuli in terms of smell, in terms of sight, in terms of hearing. So we run after these things. Yeah, we run after these things. So the more we run after it, it becomes a sense addiction. We want more and more and more. There is no end to this. It's a pitless hole. You keep chasing and chasing and chasing it. Pitless hole. And whatever that we are experiencing through the 5 senses, they are merely temporary happiness. It's not lasting happiness. It gave you happiness, but it's only for a short period. So when the thing is over, suffering start to come in, then you have to find another sensual pleasure to keep up with this demand. So it becomes a sense addiction. One leads to another, one leads to without end. Okay? So the Buddha says that, the sensual desire, because it comes from all our sense organ, the Buddha has come up with a very broad way to overcome some of these hindrances. So firstly is that identify what has arisen in your mind. What sense desire has arisen in your mind. So he says that you can reflect on impermanence of the pleasant desire that has arisen. Impermanence. You can use this one taken from Majjhima Nikaya 20. You read that. Majjhima Nikaya 20, the Buddha described one way to overcome sensual desire is to contemplating on impermanence of the pleasant desire. Reflect on its drawback. Yeah, this is not going to last. After it finishes, I'm going to find, unhappiness. So it's not going to last. So that's one approach. And then if you are running after beautiful things, then you can use impure objects. That means you can use asubha. Asubha simply means, subha means pleasant, subha means not so pleasant. So you can use the decaying of the body as a way. You reflect on the decay, unpleasantness. Now it's beautiful, but you try to reflect on the beauty being, decaying corpse. That also will remove the desire on the beautiful objects. So the Buddha says in AN 5.36, if you look at impure objects, definitely the repulsion towards beauty things is established. So there is one way of doing it, or some other, if you go on some retreat, they'll teach you the 32 parts of the body. You look at your body having 32 parts, so you look at what we see outside looks very beautiful. What you look inside the skin, beneath the skin is a total different thing. So you try to look inside, you get unpleasantness by looking inside. So that's also another way to overcome the thought of going after beautiful things. Then MN20 talks about guarding our senses. That is where we got to increase our mindfulness and our effort of the mindfulness to guard the sense doors. When you see something, don't run after the beauty things that you see. You try to, look away. That's one way of doing it, not to pay attention. So just stop it. So this, in essence, 35.67, the Buddha described how you can divert away from the things that you see. So if your eye sees something desirable or lovely or pleasing or agreeable, that can arouse desire, and arousing lust, the monk should not delight and then start to move away, using the right kind of attention, wise attention, move away, and don't look at the features in detail, just cut. Okay? And then if they're good sound, again, apply the same thing. You hear, if your nose pick up good smell, cut away, right? Cut away from that. And then for those who like to eat, for those who like eat a lot of food, eat until you are already full, but you still want to eat, the going after food. So in MN2 and MN39, the Buddha talks a bit about moderation in eating. So in fact, this is a good practice. I think some societies or even some Buddhist families, they also practice this during their breakfast, their lunch and a dinner. You can also do that. When you look at the food, you look at this food differently. You look at this food not to enjoy, the food. So you reflect on this food, that this food I'm taking not for beautifying, not for fattening, not to build up my muscle and all that, but only for the sake of maintaining this body, just to maintain this body healthy, so that I can continue to do good, to do good to get my liberation. You see in that way. So this is the recommended. In fact, monks always chant this during their meal as a reflection. So it's wise consideration, not to look at food for pleasure, but look at food for sustainability of the body, to have a good, healthy body. With the healthy body, then he can, do all the necessary things for his own liberation. That is one way of doing it. Okay, then the second one is ill will. So ill will, as I said, this is got to do with an emotion, which is a feeling of uneasiness. You want to reject hostility, or resentment, or hatred, or bitterness that arises, anger arises. You are already your mind is swamped with an ill will. So when you have ill will coming up, what are you going to do? Are you going to pay poor attention to it, or careful attention, and wise attention, or wise attention? So the Buddha says that, that's what we like to do. I did also explain this, that we have two parts of the mind. One is called the thinking mind, which is always logical. When you are normal, when you are not agitated, we have a thinking mind, which is always wholesome. And then we have another part of the mind, which is emotional mind, the feeling mind. So when anger arises, sometimes always anger takes over the working of your mind. So you always feel justified that I should make the other party angry too. That is the problem, when we don't have the right view or right Dhamma in us, we think we have the right to make the other party angry. So he make me angry, I got to make him angry. He hurt me, I must hurt him. That is the normal tendencies, habitual tendency, which is actually wrong. So the Buddha says that don't fall into a trap of using feeling, justify it, and then act on it. Like we tend to be that way. We justify our feeling. Try to use more of our logical mind, the mind that reasons. So it's always good when you're angry, hold your horses for a while. Don't react. You want to say something, hold. You want to do something, hold. Give it a break. So the break time, your logical mind can come in and then, do some adjustment, readjust. And then, hopefully can dispel off the emotional side of it and become more logical. And then one of the ways of doing this ill will thing is that, metta is always the best way, generate loving kindness for other beings. You see everybody also suffering, you also suffering, there's no need to create another level of suffering to another party. These are the small things that we can do to slow down. So kindness is always one of the ways. When the ill will arises, so we show kindness, show compassion for another being. No one is perfect. We also make mistakes. They also make mistakes. And always give reasons, like they must have a reason why they're angry. and therefore I did not fall into a trap that I need to be angry too. So those kind of reasonings are good, like, you know, you have good attention, you know, wise attention, applying wise judgment when anger arises. And third is the sloth and torpor, which is the heaviness of body, dullness of mind. This one, inaction, too sleepy, indolent, and lazy. I think this is very common behavior. When you are hit by this, sloth and torpor in your meditation, you can see some of the advice given by Buddha. Fantastic, huh? So this is taken from AN 7.58. The Buddha advising Venerable Mahamoggallana. So Mahamoggallana was practicing the whole day trying to attain arahanthood, but his mind becomes heavy and lazy. Sloth and torpor arises. So the Buddha says few things. First step is try to do the first one, not to give attention to the sloth and torpor. But this is very difficult because yes, a reason is already very difficult, you know. I think unless you've got a very strong will, you can do it. But for most of us, when you want to apply the first step, not to give attention, it becomes extremely difficult to apply. And then maybe the second way is that you can use Dhamma reflection to energize the mind. The mind is weak, so don't let the mind fall further. You can then use Dhamma reflection. That's one way of doing it. Or you can do some chanting, you know. You can do Buddha Nusati, which is Itipiso Bhagava Arahang. You can chant that, or Dhamma Nusati, which you just walked through just now. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo. You run through the 6 qualities, keep repeating it many, many times. So that will then energize the mind. You can do that way. If this isn't going to work, then the Buddha says that, you know, you start to use physical ways, you know. Shake your ear. I don't know how they shake the ear. I think most likely pull your ear. That is translated from the, taken directly from the Nikaya, shake your ear. Maybe long ear can shake, so we got to pull our ear to make it like, you know, try to remove the drowsiness and sleepiness, or rub your limb, you know, press against your palm and all that. Like, do some physical thing. Not aggressive yet, so do some physical thing to keep yourself awake. But if this thing also fail, then he says better wake up, get up from a seat, and go to the basin to wash your face. Use water to wash your face, or look at bright objects, yes? Lights or the stars. The time they don't have much light in India, so they look at the sky and look at the sky, you know, and look at the stars to get back their clear mind. If can't, then you can do the walking up and down. Yeah, you can do up and down, and then you can, if this also can't work, you're really, really tired, then the Buddha says, take a quick rest and don't sleep too long. You can see the standard the Buddha has on this, very, very, okay. And he says that shake your ears like the dog, or swing your head left and right. maybe, for those that have long ear, you can swing your head left and right, so the ear loops will swing left and right. But we don't have long ears, so we got to pull our ear. So lying down is another option you can take, but don't sleep too long. Now you can see the Buddha's standard is to Mahamoggallana is pretty high standard. He gave him guided instruction and let him pick which one he can use to overcome the sloth and torpor. But for people like us, lay people who are you know, on the path to enter the stream, I think it's highly recommended we don't sit when we are drowsy. Don't sit. Do walking. Not just do walking meditation. Just do walking, brisk walking, fast walking. About 15 steps or 12 steps up and down. Fast walking, and then just focus on. Coordinate your mind with your foot that is moving. So it's left foot, just say left, right foot, just say right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Go about 20 minutes. You know, as you walk fast like that, keeping your mind focus on these two words. Generally, you know, your mind will be energized as you walk. You know, you also give you the body heat. So once you've done that, you can then sit and see whether drowsiness comes back or not. If drowsiness comes back, then you start walking again. Yeah, you can start walking, or you can sit in one corner and do chanting. Yeah, keep the mind energized. The whole about slow and torpor is that the mind is weak, so you got to energize it by doing a variety of things. Okay, so restlessness is, as I say, this is like, you know, your mind has too much energy. It doesn't know what to do. You know, it's the opposite of slow and torpor. Slow is low energy in the mind. Restless is high energy in the mind. The mind is restless, so it's like monkey jumping from tree to tree. So nothing makes the mind satisfied. Yeah, nothing makes the mind satisfied. So usually things like this, when the mind is active and looking for things to do, Anapanasati will be one of the good techniques, because Anapanasati calms the mind. So you slow down the running of your mind. Yeah, you know, you just got to hold it and let it focus on the breath with some effort. Like, you know, you have to really put in effort in front of you and hold the mind to stay with your breath. In, out, in, out. It runs away, it doesn't matter. And then bring it back again to the in breath, out breath, in breath, out breath. It runs away, keep bringing it back. So after a while, you know, the monkey tames down. So when you have a restless mind, the best thing you do is you can do that, or you can also use chanting as a way. You know, the Thai tradition, they use Buddho, Buddho, Buddho for a long period of time. That's also another way. You use one word to keep the mind focused and bring it down to as much as possible. So, antidote given by the Buddha is, so in breath, out breath is one of the best methods. And then be contented, whatever that agitates you, you'll be contented, not to be not to be unhappy with the outcome, just be contented, or talk to some matured people or experienced people, you know, to ask for advice, you know, how to overcome restlessness. I think we are all hit by restlessness from time to time. One of the ways I do is that I use in breath, out breath. Yeah, in breath, out breath is a way to bring down the restlessness. And last of all is skeptical doubt. So this is unhealthy because you're not sure what is it. So when you have lack of conviction or trust, doubt arises usually. Okay, so things that comes in the whole process of meditation is that, you know, the instruction given by the instructor is not working for me. You know, this is not going to work for me. Some of this thing will definitely comes while you are in the whole process of practicing. Yeah, you get that. So one of the good way of doing this is that you not sure, ask. Get clear instruction from the teacher that you are in the retreat itself. You know, don't leave things unclear, and that will brings into your meditation, and your mind is doubtful. It will not allow the mind to settle to calmness. So the best thing to do is that not clear. Yeah, that's the reason why when you go for a retreat, there is certain slot that the teacher provides for those who want to ask question. It could be private, or it could be a group discussion or whatever. So use the opportunity to ask and get clear instruction. Don't miss that opportunity. A lot of people are too shy to ask. So when you're too shy to ask, and you're not sure of the instruction, and you sit there for hours and hours, nothing is going to happen. You get more, you know, you got more doubt, and you won't be progressing in the retreat itself. So best is that ask the seniors or ask the instructor. You know, if you're shy, write on a piece of paper and pass the question to the teacher to respond. So in that way, you know, you can remove some of the doubts that you have. Okay, so recommendation is talk to those who are better than you and ask for some instruction, you know, how to overcome it. Okay, so entering the last segment, the 4 stages of awakening. I want to cover this is because it's very common objective question, where the objective question asks things related to the 4 stages. So I just want to walk through with you. You just pay attention on a few key points of the notes down here. So the 4 stages I've already explained earlier. Yeah, it consists of Sotapan, that's the first stage. Maximum life for Sotapan is 7 life, yeah. And the second level is Sakadagami. Here, and that particular area has only 1 life, only 1 returner. One time only, only 1 time. And then Anagami means non-returner. They don't come back, but they're born into the Sudavasa heaven, the Brahma's world, and then from there they enter Nibbana. And the last of it is Arahant, a fully liberated individual in this life itself. So these are the 4 stages. So all these 4 stages, they are guaranteed not to be born in the lower realms. Yeah, the lower realms. I think I have walked through with you the 31 planes of existence, right? So they won't be born as an animal, they won't be born as a ghost, or they won't be born as a hell, or they won't even be born as an asura, the low gods, the low spirits. So they won't be born there. So knowing the benefit to be an Arya, I think all of us got to strive harder, isn't it? Because we know that this is the thing available in front of us. You know, we just got to claim our prize. So work harder, at least try to attain a Sotapan level. Yeah, Sotapan level. So how to do that? So this is the slide that you have to pay attention. So stages is on the very left. So you have Sotapan, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahant, the 4 stages. And then in the middle are the 10 fetters. 10 fetters means the 10 bonds. 10 bonds, defilements, you can call them also if you like to. So you can see there are 10 here. You've got the first one called identity view. Identity view is actually equivalent to not attaching to the 5 aggregates. You don't take the 5 aggregates as me, mine, and myself. That is the lowest level. So it's very important for us to constantly remind ourselves the body is not I, not mine, not myself, because by doing that, if you can understand that, that means you can overcome the first factor called identity view. Okay? And then number 2 is the doubt in the Buddha's teaching. So this is referring to having doubt in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. By chanting Namo Tassa Bhagavato and by chanting Buddhang Saranang Gacchami doesn't guarantee that. When they say doubt means to say, if someone gave you 1,000,000 ringgit, you want to change religion. You're willing to change religion. That means you still have doubt in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Means the teaching of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha is still not fully absorbed in you. You don't comprehend it until it becomes part of you. That's the meaning of unshakable faith, unshakable faith. Doubt means you still have shakable faith. Your faith is still shakable. If somebody gave you money in millions, you change religion. Or you found a girl or a boy, a man or whatever is from another religion, you change religion. This is a typical example of you don't have confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Doubt. And third is right and ritual. Right and ritual refers to believing that by praying, by doing something, I will be liberated. The answer is no. The Buddha already says again and again, rituals don't lead you to liberation, only by your own effort. Yeah, understand the teaching, practice the teaching, and then, enter samadhi. That is the way. The Noble Eightfold Path is the way for liberation, not rites and ritual. When I say that, it doesn't mean that you should stop your rite and ritual. You can still proceed with the rite and ritual, but try to put in some elements of understanding. Why am I doing this? When you do something, you put in the element of Dhamma renit. For example, the recent Vesak, I see a lot of people queuing up to bathe the baby Prince Siddhartha or the Bodhisattva, they bathe. But if you bathe the Prince Siddhartha or the little prince with some reflection and Dhamma there, then it makes sense now, you know. That ritual becomes meaningful. For example, when you put the first water pouring down, you can say, like the Buddha, may I remove the stain of bodily action. Yeah, so you reflect on, you know, not to commit bad bodily action when you pour down, you know. When you pour the second level of water, then you can say, may I be like the Buddha, you know, refrain from verbal misconduct. That become meaningful in that action itself. That third one is, you know, you just say, you know, may I be like the Buddha, abstain from you know, your body, your thought actions, you know. So you just go through the three things as you pour down, that becomes meaningful. So just doing rite and rituals, thinking that they'll lead me to liberation, answer is no. And that has to be abandoned. So someone who is a Sotapan, he has removed this three: identity view, full confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, no doubt, and then he doesn't believe in rite and ritual for liberation. Yeah? Okay? And then you can see the fourth is sensual desire and ill will, the 4 and 5. So this one has, it's not overcome by a Sotapan. It's partially overcome by a Sakadagami. Partial. Sensual desire and ill is partially overcome by a Sakadagami. So a Sakadagami will have completed 1, 2, 3 and partially 4 and 5. Then an Anagami has completed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can imagine, you see, for us to fully overcome sensual desire and ill will, it only happened at the third stage area, Anagami. Yeah, so don't be too hard on ourselves on the sensual desire and ill will, because this one really needs a lot of practice. So don't be disheartened if there's still some level of running after sensual desire. You know, it doesn't matter, because this can only be overcome when we have attained the third stage. Right? With more practice, we can do that. And then an Arahant, he complete all the 10, including 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, that is material rebirth desire. That means born in a Brahma's world, in a form world, and then born in a formless world. So they have this desire still. So those desire has to be overcome by an Arahant. On seat, this is difficult to break because the I inside, as I said, the number 1 identity view is only reference to the 5 aggregator. Okay, that is the reference. Then the conceit is the real mano, your real self deep inside is overcome by an Arahant. And then restlessness, you can see even restlessness, your mind keep running, sometimes you get restless, are only overcome by an Arahant. So somehow we will still some level of restlessness. And then lastly, the ignorance. Ignorance means, you know, not knowing. Now he becomes fully known, fully aware and fully known. Okay, why can't the person go straight to one return? Okay, so the question is that whether the factors has to be abandoned in that way. So the answer is yes. So you have to, if you can do 5 in a go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it, because 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are classified as lower factors. The factors which are easier to clear. And then the Buddha has classified that the first 3 is the easiest among the 5. Right? Easiest among the 5. So for us to shoot for, we go for the 1, 2, 3. At the same time, also practice 4 and 5. Try to reduce it, you know, as far as we can, you know, not fully abandon, at least reduce it so that we can actually enter the second stage of an area, becoming a Sakadagami. Okay, So that's how it does. So the higher factors 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is tougher to handle because this got to do with very strong craving. People attaining high level of jhana, they tend to crave on the jhana. They get stuck there, they get stuck there. So that is the thing we try to avoid. The Arahant got to avoid that from happening. Yes, 6, 7, 8 is actually rupa and arupa. Arupa, yes, correct. But you must remember the rupa jhana, arupa jhana is not found in the early texts. Yeah, the early Nikayas doesn't use that terminology. The rupa jhana, arupa jhana are later writings. Is used by commentaries. Like Buddha Gosha, they use word like this, but it's never found in the early suttas. So I try to avoid the word rupa jhana and arupa jhana because when it's better that we keep ourselves a bit pure rather than mixing up with a lot of later words. When you are caught up with a lot of later words, then we get confused, whether we're talking about the same thing or not. The Buddha only mentioned 4 jhanas. Okay, 4 jhanas. The rupa jhana and arupa jhana doesn't exist in a sutta. They are called ayatanas. It's a different word used there. They are just high level of concentration called ayatanas. They don't call it a 4th jhana, the 5th jhana, 6th jhana, or form jhana, or formless jhana. Don't use word like that. Just to clarify, the question was asked just now. If you are using those kind of terminology, you got to make sure that those words are not in early suttas. You yourself has to be aware that these are later words used by later writers. Yeah, so just to be aware, so that when you read anything, you don't get confused with the terminologies. Okay, so what I want to show here also is that you can see the highlight I bold here. Doubt is actually one of the hindrance. Sensual desire, 4 and 5, and ill will is also a hindrance. And number 9, restlessness is a hindrance. You can see it. So you can see out of 5 hindrances, 4 are built into the factors to be abandoned. So we need to abandon the 5 hindrances. So you can see it's also part of the factors we need to abandon. Okay, and then we have the lower factors. These are the 5 lower factors, and these are the 5 higher factors to be developed by an Arahant. So above here, you can see here, Sotapan, maximum 7 life. They can have less life. Then a Sakadagami only comes back as a human 1 more round, once returner. And then those Anagami, they don't come back here. They straight away born in the Brahma's world called the pure born. If we check the 31 plane of existence, you can see the Sudavasa, heavens there, they are born there. And definitely Arahant has completely finished their job. So that's it. They don't come back. That's the end of their they have accomplished what accomplished their duties to be liberated. Okay, there's another question, Eliza. The Pala Samapatti and all these words are later words introduced. Yeah. Definitely for each of the stages, like Sotapan, Anagami, and all that, they have attained the fruit of the stage. If you are referring to Palasamapatti as the attainment of the fruit of the stage, the answer is yes. But if you use the word Palasamapatti as something else, the answer may not be yes. If you narrow down the word Palasamapatti as the attainment for that stage, then definitely Sotapan has attained that stage. So meaning to say that once you become a Sotapan, you cannot drop backward. It's like you earn a degree, you cannot go backward. You earn a degree, you earn a degree. So same thing with Sotapan. When they attain that stage, they have completed the stage. They will not fall. Same goes with Sakadagami. Once they attain Sakadagami, they cannot fall back to be a Sotapan. They are Sakadagami. And same goes with Anagami. Once they attain Anagami, they have attained it. They cannot fall back. I think some other schools, later schools, they are talking about that the attainment of all this area are not permanent, are not sustainable. They can fall back. Those are the later kind of thinking, but definitely not found in the sutta. The Buddha is very clear. In the sutta, it's very clear that when a person attains a stage, they are at the stage and they never fall backward. Don't worry. So if you're a Sotapan, you're a Sotapana. You cannot go backward. Okay, so that covers the. I think that's the last slide, right? Okay, I think that's the last slide. That is the last slide. Okay, so what I'll do is that I want to go through with you some of the objective questions pertaining to the 4 stages of awakening. So Brother T will share the slide. He has compiled a few questions from the past question, just for us to go through that, yeah? There's a question called Magga and Pala. Magga means you're on the path. Pala means you have completed the path. So, for example, Magga Pala. So you are in the stream. You are entering the stream as a Sotapan. So you are Magga. Pala means at the point of you passing away in this very life, the fruit of your work is called the Pala. So Magga Pala is always used that way. But again, you see, when you look at the sutta kind of question, Magga Pala are 2 distinct steps. But for those who are very influenced by Abhidhamma, they always think that the Magga Pala is just a moment away. Just a moment away. That means that you got Magga, you got Pala right away. That is the later kind of thinking. But in the sutta, the Buddha has clearly described that Magga is one stage, the Pala is another stage. It's not, a split second thing. It's Magga Pala. For those who are familiar with the Ratana Sutta, the Buddha keep on talking about the 4 paths and the 8 individual. 4 paths and the 8 individual. So it's clearly showing that the 4 paths and 8 individual are distinct people. It's not one. 4 paths and distinct individual. So that's how the word Magga Pala is used in the early teaching. It's not as one momentary moment. For those who are heavily influenced by Abhidhamma, they always say it's one momentary moment, which is not supported by the sutta. Okay, let's look at the question. Is it possible to enlarge it a bit? Can you just pull the line a bit so that we can enlarge it? So I just want to bring your attention to the question. So you can see I'm trying to give you a glimpse on that lesson itself. So question number 1, a Sotapan has eradicated the following except which one? So question number 1 is okay, so you have self-delusion, doubt, right ritual, sensual pleasure, and ill will. The first answer is D. D. They have not eradicate sensual pleasure and ill will. So which stage has completed sensual pleasure and ill will is Anagami. The Anagami. Let's look at question number 2. Anagami, non-returner, has cultivated deep insight and has further eradicated that is also D. The answer for number 2 also D, correct. So it's sensual pleasure and ill will. So you can see that is the style of the exam paper. Just got to be a bit careful Sotapan, you have to know the factors they have cleared. And Anagami, they have cleared additional 2 factors called sensual pleasure and evil. Okay, let's look at the next question. Okay, this one. Okay, so this one is, you have to choose 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sotapan has eradicated, 1, 2, and cultivated. So what is the answer? Which one you think represents the answer for number 3? You match against the, so they have done 1, 2, and 3. So, okay, the answer is A. Correct. Very good, very good. Okay, now let's look at number 4. Sotapan has eradicated. Okay, good. So it's 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 all fits the answer. So it's number A. Very good. Okay, then is there any other questions?
No more already.
Good. Okay, so that is the glimpse that you can get for the type of questions that you'll be expected to get from your objective papers. Yeah. So very good. So now I'm going to go through with you a very quick one on the answers to the 18 questions that I've shared out. I just want to make sure that you all have your score sheet with you. Okay, so I just want to share with you this one. Okay, so the first question, the first question, the fundamental unit, and the question number 2, you can see the first question, second question, they use the word fundamental unit and fundamental laws. That is the word that you have to be careful. Unit and the law. So question number 2, the law, the answer is, which one do you think? We have covered this in chapter number 5, yeah? So question number 2, the answer is B, niyama. We have done the 5 natural laws. Okay, the natural laws. So question number 1 is a bit tricky because the fundamental unit, for those who knows the Pali word here, the answer is B, paramatta. Yes, satya means truth. Paramatta means ultimate truth, ultimate. Yeah, the teaching of the Buddha is paramatta, ultimate. Panati is conventional views that we have, conventional. Niyama means the law or the order. So the answer for number 1 is B. Question number 1 is B. Number 2 also B, niyama. And then this one we have discussed already, the Deva Dhamma, the 2 things that will prevent us from doing wrong behavior in the world, like the circuit breaker. So the answer is D, shame. This one, shame and fear. Shame and fear. Moral shame and moral fear. Hiri or tapa, the Pali word, hiri or tapa. So question number 3 is D. Question 4 is, this one we have discussed already in the class number 4, the anicca. The word used by Visuddhimagga. So this is, this one is, answer is anatta, right? Anicca dukkha anatta, here we have done that. So it refers to anatta. No self there, no self. So Q4 is C. And then this one, okay, question number 5, type of question on Paccekasamuppada. You have to know the 12 links a little bit well, because this one says, what causes vijnana to arise? This one is actually on the higher, the 1, 2, 3, 4 there, vijnana to arise. So what causes vijnana to arise? Consciousness to arise. So it's sankhara. Sankhara causes vijnana to arise. So it's B. So try to remember the 12 links on your own so that you can pick the right answer. For this question 5 is sankhara. Number 6, This one we have discussed in the Paccekasamuppada as well. So the answer is A, relinking consciousness. The answer is relinking consciousness. And number 7 is 5 constitute. This one we have repeated many times. We have many pancha here. The answer is D, panchakanda. D, panchakanda. If there is no self, then who perform karma? This one I have been repeating again on the karma side is Chetana. B, Chetana. You look at the notes, I've given you the Pali word Chetana and trying to emphasize that Chetana intention. Intention is karma. Chetana. And then which of the following statement is false? Okay, this one you have to refer to the note. Sabbe Sankara Anicca, Sabbe Sankara Dukkha. And you can see C and D are both also wrong. Both also wrong. So sometimes in exam paper, you can have errors in the exam paper, so you can choose C or D. Both also wrong. Sabbe Sankara Anatta doesn't exist in the sentence. Sabbe Dhamma Dukkha, definitely no there. Sabbe Dhamma Anattati, isn't it? Anattati. So this one is definitely C and D, tak boleh pakai. So you can choose C or D as your answer. And number 10, deathless state. Something which is deathless state, eternal deathless state. Answer is definitely Nibbana. Deathless, Nibbana. And then lasting happiness, deathless again. The answer is Nibbana. Okay, D. Question number 12. Okay, the 5 aggregate. Kanda, Panchakanda. Panchakanda, 12. And then number 13, all conditioned things are subject, give rise beyond, signifies this one, Tilakana Anicca Dukkha Anatta. A. 13 is A. 14, this one is the 8 world conditions. So they've given you happiness and sorrow, gain, loss, fame and disrepute. Then definitely the answer is D, praise and blame. The 8 worldly conditions, which you have also covered that. So remember the 8 worldly conditions in its proper way. Then, okay, this is false. Which of this is false? This one is perfectly fine. Only one answer. So Sabbe Dhamma Dukkha is the answer, false. The rest all correct. Sankhara Anicca, Sankhara Dukkha, Dhamma Anatta. These 3 are correct. So C is wrong. Which one practices one practices viriya? There's energy. Energy, viriya means energy. So what does it give you? It gives you diligence. It gives you, motivation to do things. The viriya paramita is diligent. Then the practice of dana will help to eradicate giving. So it shall eradicate greed. C, not to be stingy, no greed. And then number 18, the last one, this one, which of the following are not teaching of the Buddha? Not teaching. Cause and effect, sure teaching of the Buddha, cause and effect. That is the standard teaching, cause and effect. Ignorance is the first cause, maybe not sure. 3 marks of life or crisis of life. This is teaching of the Buddha. Nibbana is the highest plane of existence. Definitely number 4 is wrong. Nibbana is not the highest plane of existence. Nibbana is outside the 31 plane of existence. So 4 is definitely yes. Okay, so you look at the option you have A, B, C, D. Which one got number 4 one? D. That couples with number 2. That number 2 here you need a bit of reasoning. Ignorance is the first cause. When I show you the 12 links, ignorance look like right on top. But I did also say that dependent origination is a circle. It's a cycle. It's a circle. So one leads to another. So there is no first cause. There is no first cause. Ignorance is not the first cause, because ignorance can be, ignorance is a factor in the 12th link, but it's not the first cause. Why? Because Paccekasamuppada it's actually is a circle, is a cycle, is a circle and a cycle. Yeah, so you can start from anywhere, any point. So the answer is definitely D. Okay, so that is the 18 questions from the past paper. Today is the last class, so I thank you very much for attending 6 classes that I've delivered, and I hope you have benefited from the engagement and the class itself. Okay, so if you got any questions after the class, you can always post it in that group, or you can PM me directly, or you're trying out something, you know, you can just PM me directly. I can always be happy to give my feedback. So is there any question before we end the session?
The questions is in the chat.
Okay. The question is, you know, how do we avoid this heavenly rebirth? Susah lah. I think as long as we make aspiration. So always remember, try to make aspiration whenever you do some wholesome things. When you go for dana, or you do a wholesome act, always do an aspiration that you want to associate with the wise and avoid the foolish. So where will we be born? That's quite difficult for us to control, because we do not know what we carry from our previous life. We only know this life that we have done, settle certain level of wholesomeness. And as long as we, as long as we do aspiration to always associate with the wise and avoid the foolish, I think we are pretty all right, So no matter which place we are born, we always will come in contact with wise people. Yeah, I think quite difficult to. There's no definite answer to what heavenly birth. Yeah, if you happen to be there, also try to have. Hopefully, we will meet wise gods, wise devas. Okay. If there is no other questions, I think we have to end the lesson today. And I wish you all the success. And okay, so we'll stay in contact through the WhatsApp.